A long West Coast road trip brought the Denver Broncos into enemy territory, and what we witnessed was a statement. This team just took a massive step forward. Under the bright lights of Levi's Stadium, the Broncos didn't just play football. They sent a message. The same field where Denver last hoisted the Lombardi Trophy now became the stage for another dominant performance, a 30-9 dismantling of the San Francisco 49ers. Sure, some fans were uneasy about how the first-team offense started, but when you look closer, the bigger picture is crystal clear. This roster is deep, hungry, and relentless. Down 9-0 early, the Broncos roared back with 30 unanswered points against a 49ers team desperate to prove they were playoff-bound again. Sean Payton's squad didn't just win, they outclassed their opponent in every way. Even with early offensive struggles, the overall performance showed a team built for the long haul, a team that can take a punch, get off the mat, and dominate. This wasn't just another preseason win. This was a glimpse of what's coming. And Broncos country should be fired up. Sean Payton opened his press conference with a simple message. There's a lot of film to go through. And it wasn't just about the game, it was about the intense joint practice just 2 days earlier. Less than 48 hours before kickoff, the Broncos' first-team offense went toe-to-toe with the 49ers' starting defense for the equivalent of 3 full quarters. It was a grueling, physical session, the maximum length allowed for a joint practice, and it pushed the starters to their limits. Even local reporters wondered how this offense would have anything left in the tank come game time. And yet, despite that punishing workload, Denver went out and played without losing a single key starter to injury. That alone is a win in preseason football. One more thing stood out from the broadcast. Sean Payton wasn't calling the plays. Normally, you see him on the sideline with the massive play sheet covering his face, but not this time. He had the sheet, yes, but he was letting someone else handle the calls, watching intently instead of directing every snap. It was an interesting wrinkle, and one that says a lot about how Payton is using the preseason to prepare this team for the long grind ahead. Whether it was Davis Webb or Joe Lombardi up in the booth making the calls, this game served as a valuable run-through for the coaching staff. And if there's one thing that stood out, it's how much Sean Payton values joint practices. Even the San Francisco media admitted it. Denver looked outstanding in that session. Against the 49ers starters, the Broncos played the equivalent of 3 quarters at full intensity and looked sharper than they did in the brief opening quarter of the preseason game. That's because going against a first-team defense in a high-pressure practice environment means far more than lining up against backups fighting for roster spots. But make no mistake, Sean Payton wasn't all smiles. He was fiery, visibly frustrated, and in his press conference, one word kept coming up: surprise. For a coach known for meticulous preparation, surprises are unacceptable. Payton even admitted he had a list of 14 issues written down that had nothing to do with the scoreboard, and he was not happy about them. It could have been equipment problems, players not following protocol, or details being overlooked. Whatever it was, it didn't meet his standard. And Payton's standard is championship level. Still, the bottom line is this: Denver walked out of Levi's Stadium with a 30-9 win. And while the scoreboard was decisive, Payton made it clear, this team is just scratching the surface of what it can be. Sean Payton's frustration wasn't about the win, it was about potential. He knows this team can be so much better, and that's why the adjustments he makes in the coming weeks will be fascinating to watch. One thing he won't be upset about? The emergence of rookie running back R.J. Harvey. Lining up with the first team for most of the opening quarter, Harvey brought a spark that felt completely different from what Denver had last season. On one particular run, the contrast was crystal clear. In the past, Javonte Williams might have taken the handoff straight into the gap for a modest gain. But Harvey showed patience, pressing the hole, then bouncing outside with explosive speed, turning what could have been a short gain into a fresh set of downs. It was the kind of dynamic, creative running Denver's backfield has been missing. Yes, the scouting report says Harvey sometimes tries to bounce runs outside too often. But this was his first taste of NFL action, and the signs are promising. Bo Nix even mentioned in his post-game comments that Harvey is learning when to bounce it and when to cut inside, adding more tools to his arsenal every week. Meanwhile, on defense, Nick Bonito's competitive fire was on full display. Frustrated with how the first-team defense had performed, he refused to come out when coaches tried to sub him. That's the kind of edge that fuels championship-caliber football. Nick Bonito's response was simple: "I'm good. I'm staying in." That's exactly what you want from a player who refuses to back down. The Broncos should be thinking long-term here, lock him up before the market explodes with deals for stars like Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parsons. Bonito isn't just another pass rusher, he's a difference maker. Even Kyle Shanahan admitted he wrecked an entire offensive series, and that's the kind of disruption you can't teach. Another standout was cornerback Chris Abrams' drain. Fans remember him picking off Justin Herbert last season, and his continued growth is impossible to ignore. George Patton clearly valued him highly when he drafted him, and now with Abrams' drain alongside Riley Moss, Jaquan McMillian, and Pat Surtain II, Denver has one of the deepest cornerback rooms in the league. Even Broncos legends and current teammates are taking notice. Former no-fly zone great Chris Harris Jr. wondered aloud how the team will even keep Abrams' drain off the field. Defensive lineman John Franklin Myers called him nasty and a game wrecker. That's elite praise. On the 49ers side, Talanoa Hufanga admitted mistakes were made but welcomed them in preseason, saying he'd rather they happen now than in Week 1 against the Titans. Shanahan's offense, a legacy built by his father Mike and Gary Kubiak, is famous for scripting the opening 15 plays. And even with that preparation, Denver's defense still managed to dictate the game's tone. After getting worked over in the joint practice, the 49ers came into the game with one answer: a counterpunch. That opening scoring drive was their only real shot. After that, the Broncos completely shut them down. Their only other points came from a safety, and that was on Denver's rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. Looking back at the play from multiple angles, it's clear what happened. Nix dropped back, scanning the field, waiting for something to open up. In preseason football, you rarely see exotic safety blitz. It's almost an unwritten rule. But this time, Robert Saleh, returning to San Francisco, decided to break that rule and dial up something unexpected. Nix anticipated pressure from the right and was trying to buy an extra half-second, just enough time to hit Evan Engram for his first preseason grab or find another option breaking free. Instead, an unanticipated blitz came screaming in from the secondary. For a rookie, that's a tough spot. But here's the difference: Nix didn't panic, and he didn't take a reckless shot. He recognized the danger, avoided unnecessary punishment, and lived to fight the next down. If this was his worst play of the night, it's a far cry from the kind of disastrous rookie mistakes that derail drives and seasons. One player Broncos country needs to be fired up about after this game is wide receiver Trent Sherfield. Sean Payton couldn't stop praising him, and it's easy to see why. Last season, Lil Jordan Humphrey saw the field on half of Denver's offensive snaps largely because of his blocking ability. This year, the Broncos essentially swapped him out for Sherfield, and they got a major upgrade. Sherfield brings the same blocking toughness Payton loves, but with far more versatility. He's going to be a core special teams contributor, a reliable run game blocker, and a legitimate receiving threat. His touchdown grab in this game proved it, toe-tapping the sideline with precision that works just as well against a starting corner as it does against a backup. That's not situational skill, that's talent that travels. Throughout his career, Sherfield has shown he can make the tough catches in traffic, and now he's adding that to a Broncos offense that needs dependable, physical playmakers. Combine that with his special teams value, and you've got a player who can impact games in ways the stat sheet doesn't always capture. Sometimes, one bad special teams performance can knock a team out of playoff contention. Trent Sherfield's presence might just help make sure that never happens. History has shown how crucial special teams can be. Just look back at when the Chargers had top-tier offenses and defenses, yet missed the playoffs because of disastrous special teams play, allowing kick returns, missing field goals, and giving away games. That's why one of the biggest positives from this matchup was kicker Will Lutz. After some shaky reports from joint practices, where he supposedly struggled with accuracy, fans were beginning to worry. But under the lights, Lutz silenced every doubt, going perfect on all his field goal attempts and delivering exactly what Denver needs from its kicker. Add that to the dominant defense, emerging offensive weapons, and a head coach who demands perfection, and you can see why there's no reason to panic. This Broncos team isn't just competing, they're building toward a deep playoff run. Broncos country should believe it.